The third corner of our platform is education, and as Ken had mentioned, I got into this business, so to speak, of being a public advocate in education. In 1998, I started a scholarship program called School Choice Scholarships in Louisville. Now, this scholarship program takes kids out of Louisville's failing schools and puts them in private schools. We fund their tuition, books, and fees. And over the last 13 years, we have taken 3,000 kids out of Jefferson County schools and put them in private schools. 3,000 kids. Now, we test these kids when they come into the program. Actually, we test them at the beginning and end of each year. And at the beginning of a year, in reading, 40% of them can read at grade level, on average. After 3 years in a school they chose, 96% of them are at or above grade level. And when you look at mathematics, we test them in math. 28% can do math at grade level coming in. But after 3 years in a school they choose, 81% are at or above grade level in just 3 years. Now, I'm talking about kids that come from families that are typically single parent or single grandparent, 3 kids, and they have an average annual income of $12,000 a year. So they're poor and they're minorities. We had Sheldon Berman, who's the superintendent of Jefferson County Public Schools, said in testimony to Greater Louisville Link, which is our chamber in Louisville, said this week that until we solve the problem of poverty, until we get rid of poverty, we can't teach poor people well in the public school system. It's a bunch of bull. Poor people can learn, minorities can learn, we just need to let their families get their kids in the right position. And how we change that, and our proposal is this. We have a broken business model right now in education. No one can be held accountable for anything in our public education system. The district points to the schools or to Frankfurt, Frankfurt points to the schools or the Fed points at everybody else, and of course everybody screams we don't have enough money. Well, think about this. 1/3 of our kids in our public school systems drop out. I'm talking about Kentucky. 1/3 of our kids drop out before they graduate. And of those that graduate, 60% need remedial education before they can enter our own state colleges and universities. This includes a recent valedictorian of one of our public high schools. Needed remedial ed to get in. So if you strip away the failure and you strip away that mediocrity, we are essentially educating 1 out of 4 of our kids to enter the workforce or enter one of our own colleges and universities without additional assistance. 1 out of 4 kids. We have 630-something thousand kids in our school system. We're educating 1 out of 4. Think about that. Hundreds of thousands of kids that aren't prepared to compete, and that's got to change. And how I want to change that is to push accountability down to the district level. The superintendent must be held accountable for the performance of the schools in their district. The school boards in these districts need to be holding that superintendent accountable, and they will only do that if people like you get involved in the school board races and get involved in holding those school board members accountable. If you don't do that, you get what you deserve. Because if we leave them to their own devices, the teachers' unions and the people that support the status quo will continue to appoint and fund school board members that keep the same stuff happening year after year. We can change that, but it's up to you to get off your keisters and get that done. So, but once we get it down to the district level and we allow that superintendent to become a business person and determine how much they're going to pay people, who they're going to hire and who they're going to fire, and what their curriculum is going to be, then we'll start to get some movement forward on a mass scale. But we also need to get accountability down to the classroom level as well. It's a simple fact that if a child does not submit to their teacher, they do not learn. We do not require children to submit to their teachers in the public school systems. As a matter of fact, a kid can be as disruptive as they want to be, and they don't fear any type of punishment or retribution. None at all. So a teacher every day deals with a chronically misbehaving child. Every minute they deal with that child, they steal a minute from every other kid in that classroom that wants to learn. And we have to stop that. And the way we do it is we give the schools and the teachers the ability to kick chronically disruptive kids out of school. Now that sounds draconian, and parents would say, well, I could become victimized. How we protect parents is we give them public school choice. And what I mean by that is public school choice will allow a parent, if they're unhappy with the public school that their child is in, and I don't care what the reason is, if they're unhappy with where their child is or how they're doing in that school, they should be allowed to pull that child out and put them in any other public school that has an open seat regardless of district. And when we do that, the parent will be able to pull a kid out and put them in the right school. The scholarship program I mentioned before, some of those parents go through 2 or 3 or 4 schools before they find the school that clicks for their kid. we should be able to do that in the public school system as well, because when it clicks, they learn and they do well, and we've proven that in Louisville. So we need that public school choice, and it introduces competition. And I believe I would be surprised that if anybody in this room would disagree with what I'm about to say, and that is competition is good. It lowers costs, it raises quality, and we need that in our public school systems in a bad way.